We left the gantry blue and gold with
Going to Mars
5,000
by
tons of
James
steel
Ray,
to
The
hold.
Phantom Texter, January 2026. Chapter 1. Somebody, give me a match to light this candle. Fast forward to Monday, October 18th, 2032, 5 days before launch.
Hello, and welcome to all the elementary and high schools worldwide as you take part in the live internet broadcast of NASA's Speaks program. Although there have been many documentaries and news segments on the subject, we were given the opportunity to do the last segments live. After the crew's arrival on the Saratoga this past Sunday, so we'll be streaming straight from the Saratoga as they go about their week-long preparation for their historic journey to Mars. In this program, you will be hearing from the crew of the Saratoga as they prepare for that October 23rd launch. We are lucky for this first segment to be given by the captain of the Saratoga, Colonel Hank Phantom Wilson from the United States, Texas. Captain, I'd like to thank you very much for participating in this broadcast.
Think nothing of it. I'm happy to be here.
And I was told you're going to have a particularly special guest teaching with you on this segment.
That is correct. Young people, I'd like to introduce you to our ship's AI, Aries. Aries, say hello to the students.
Yes, Captain. Hello, students of the world. There are too many time zones for me to give the proper greeting of the day. I am Aries, ship AI to the Saratoga. Although I am not a permanent part of the ship, I am tasked with various functions throughout its length. I am happy to inform you of some of those today.
As you guys can see, Aries is not what you would call overly conversational. But he has some pretty important jobs at which he does a very good job at. So the crew have all learned to accept that particular limitation. Whereas I'm quite sure most of you know the specifications for the Saratoga, because it's been hanging in the sky for about 6 years, here and there. But for those who might not know them or have forgotten them, let's have Aries run down some of the ship's specs. Aries, would you mind giving them the rundown of the ship?
My pleasure, Captain. The Saratoga is currently Earth's largest vessel at 90 meters long, equating to 295 feet. Although shorter than the ISS space station at 20 meters or 65 foot long, it boasts of more usable internal space. The ship masses 5,000 metric tons, which is approximately 11,023,113 pounds. This is not including the thousands of tons of water that is used for various needs around the ship, and also as part of the radiation shielding jacket around it. The propulsion of the ship is done with 2 GRC cold fusion plants, feeding 3 Northrop/Rocketdyne high-thrust, high-inertia engines, which are fueled by deuterium-fed hydrogen fuel. The ship is laid out like a 5-story tall skyscraper laid on its side. Or, as some have said, a row of quarters on its side. It has 5 decks. Deck 1 being the top is the flight deck. Deck 2 is the main crew quarters. Deck 3 houses the medical bay, gym, and research labs. The remaining Deck 4 and 5 house the 2 cold fusion plants, engineering subsystems, and life support, with the majority of Deck 5 being the engines. The ship uses multiple layers for radiation and thermal management, as I said earlier. The water jacket and 10 centimeters of high-density polyethylene plates make up 2 others. The forward direction of travel is protected by the detachable umbrella kinetic micrometeor shield.
Thank you, Aries. Efficient as always.
You are welcome, Captain.
Now I know you guys have heard a lot about this being the first this and the first that. But of course you know. Yes, we tested it first. We're not stupid. At least, not anymore. It wasn't too long ago we learned that giving infinite money to some billionaire to blow up tens of rockets and clap while he did it was not necessarily a very smart thing. So we sent rockets the traditional method to Mars, to survey. Then we sent our test rockets on the new, consistent thrust engines, although even as slow as it was, just to test the theory. And wouldn't you know it, we didn't lose as many in that experiment as we did in the whole Artemis throwaway program did of rockets, just trying to get off the ground. Yes, NASA went back to the failure is not an option plan. People tell me I'm optimistic. Well, I guess I should be. I'm the captain of the ship going to Mars. It might look a little bad on my resume if I still had doubts. At the very least, if I vocalized them. But of course, I'm joking. You see, part of my job around here is not to be the movie star, straight-laced, no sense of humor leader. My job is to coordinate and make decisions. Most captains have the job of maintaining the focus of the goals. You can think of it as, I have to be the jack of all trades, but I have to trust in the masters to do what they're masters of. No one man can do this operation. That's why you're going to meet my crew. 5 of the absolute best at what they do. Much like Aries is the absolute best at what he does, even if he does cheat at cards.
Captain, I do not cheat at cards.
Aries, surely you aren't calling the captain a liar in front of the whole world, are you? That's poor form, son.
If you're not including the one you just told, then no, Captain, I am not.
All right then. Now where was I? Oh yeah, that's right. The ship was christened the Saratoga. I know why, and by now I'm sure all of you do too. All of us call her Big Red. Red for short. Yeah, we're not a very inventive bunch when it comes to that. But as people kept saying it as a joke, it kinda stuck. You guys also contributed to that, because you liked the nickname too. We named the ship after the color of the planet. Who says scientists and engineers don't have a sense of humor? It was assembled in orbit. It was one of the largest projects mankind had ever come together to do. The things we were learning before and after will definitely jumpstart us as a spacefaring species. It has spent time during its construction, neighboring both the ISS space station and the Chinese Tiangong Heavenly Palace. It even spent a rare situation, being docked to the ISS. Being as big as a space station makes moving it around delicate. But as compared to the other 2 stations, it's the only one that's actually maneuverable on purpose. Compared to them, Big Red has the grace of a ballerina. A 5,000 metric ton ballerina. Maybe one day they may even paint her red. But being the first of her kind, we are still learning. It was understood long ago that at her size, even at low Earth orbit of 400 kilometers, is not her optimal resting point. But Red comes down to this orbit to do most of her logistics. Before she maneuvers back up to her high parking orbit of 600 kilometers, where we are now. As you know, it was constructed in space. When we finally got over our planet-wide hypnosis of Hollywood, it became clear to everyone involved that we were never going to launch anything from the surface that had a decent chance of taking people to the red planet. I think in general we learned never take your technology cues from actors. Once we all got together on that. Assembly in orbit was the only way out. Like the Emperor's new clothes, someone just stood up and said, If the Chinese can put a space station up with only a handful of launches, why are we still trying to launch from the surface? What we can assemble in a handful of launches and keep in space. And they were right. I know some of you are saying to yourselves, "Darn, I wish I had said it." Worse comes to worse, we'd just have a new space station. As the keel was being laid down in an orbit far away, for safety from either of the space stations, construction began. It even utilized a more robust and less sensationalized version of Starship as the dock command vessel, which housed the majority of the construction crew that weren't robots. We had learned quite a bit about construction techniques as we simultaneously rushed to build the Edison, which was actually the first practical, constant-thrust spaceship for mankind. As you know, it was the test bed and is still working to this day. Once construction progressed to the point of the Saratoga having its own maneuvering capabilities, work went into high gear. Fueling with water was much easier, and evaporation and boil-off were never a problem. If anything, the process helps us with the methods and possibilities of transferring something more volatile later. Water, being a non-volatile substance, was sent up almost immediately, and to this day, non-stop. For this run, the milkman can never be late. But we don't have to worry about him blowing up on the trip. The Saratoga is designed to never use up all of its water. Although it will always be thirsty, it will never be empty. For the foreseeable future, Earth is the only place that has the infrastructure for the massive water deliveries it needs. Big Red will take its last sips this week, and it won't drink again until we get back. As Aries told you, one of our many layers of radiation protection is our highly modified 10 centimeters thick plates of high-density polyethylene. Not a perfect solution, but I do so want to have children one day still. The way the Saratoga is built, as we discover and develop better shielding, it will easily be built into the ship, and it will be part of the designs of the ships to come. Boys and girls, we're in space now. From here on out, kids, it's all gas, no brakes. We're lighting the candle, and we aren't blowing it out till the red dirt is under our boots. It means we're going to Mars.
Thank you, Captain. We look forward to speaking with you again during your trip out to Mars, which of course will be recorded due to the time delay. Okay, students, moving right along.
The countdown down while we left behind the earthly ground. The captain's had his tucked away. We're lighting the candle for the red today.